Molly Moon is an orphan who grew up at the Hardwick House orphanage. The orphanage is run by Miss Adderstone. She's strict and expects the kids to always follow her rules. They can't watch TV, play, or even read. Every night after lights out, she'd check their beds to ensure the kids were all there. Molly, however, enjoys reading. She'd place a teddy on her bed to confuse Adderstone and then head to the laundry room to read. That night while she's reading, her best friend Rocky comes to knock on her door, telling her it's time for some midnight snacks. They wake the other kids up and they steal ketchup from the kitchen so they can enjoy it with bread. Meanwhile, Adderstone feeds her dog in her office and she hears noises from the kids. She wonders what is happening, so she goes to check on the kids and sees them eating. She gets furious at them and threatens to punish them. However, Molly confesses the idea was from her, so she should be punished. Adderstone subjects Molly to wash every day of the week and also tells the kids that they will eat fish stew all week and have their curfew by 6 p.m. The following day, the kids are served with fish stew. The stew tastes so bad that the kids are irritated. They have no choice but to eat it anyway. As they eat and talk, Rocky notices a brochure on Molly's hand and asks her about it. She says that it is a talent contest and she would like Rocky to join the competition. Rocky is timid, so he deems himself unsuitable. He refuses to join the competition, causing a commotion amongst the kids. They call Rocky Molly's husband, and she argues with them. They insult her, saying she is a reject and no one will ever want her. The commotion soon triggers Adderstone's attention, and she shouts at them angrily. She notices the brochure in Molly's hand and gets even more furious. She punishes Molly again by ordering her to wash the plates for a week. Rocky joins Molly and she is washing the plate. He notices Molly is angry, so he plays and sings for her. She appreciates his companionship and reminds him of the contest, but he refuses again. He says he gets nervous in front of a large audience, but she tries to convince him she will go with him. Adderstone overhears their conversation and insults them, saying they are stupid and won't find a way to leave that home unless they are adopted, and no one will offer to adopt someone like them. Molly is very affected by her comments and walks away. She meets one of the orphanage workers, Miss Trinkleberry. Trinkleberry notices Molly's distress and reassures her that she's not a reject and that people love her. The following day, Molly is still depressed and sits alone. Rocky drags her to run with him, but she tells him she wants to go to the library. At the library, she goes to her favorite spot and reads her book. A man, Knockman, visits the library at about the same time. He asks for a book about hypnotism, and the librarian tells him that the book is missing. Coincidentally, Molly sees the book behind her. She gets fascinated and starts reading it. Meanwhile, Knockman keeps arguing with the librarian about the book's location, and Molly mistakenly drops it around him. Molly picks it back up and runs out of the library while Knockman chases her. He is unable to catch up and eventually finds out that Molly stays at the orphanage. Molly continues reading the book and she reads about how to hypnotize people. Adderstone's dog, Petula, walks in about the same time, and Molly decides to try hypnotizing it, and she successfully does so. Meanwhile, Rocky walks in disappointed because Molly has forgotten about their practice together. Molly wants to try hypnosis again, so she decides to try it on the cook, Edna. She succeeds again. Now the kids have Italian spaghetti for dinner. As they eat happily, Adderstone arrives and is shocked by what she sees. She shouts at the kids, but Edna and Trinkleberry stop her. Adderstone announces that a couple is coming for adoption over the weekend, and she decides to put Rocky on the list. This upsets Rocky, and Molly promises to do something to stop it. Trinkleberry also meets with Adderstone, reminding her of their decision to put the two best friends together for adoption. She insists that if Adderstone puts Rocky up for adoption, she will report Adderstone to the government. The following day, Knockman tries to sneak into the orphanage home, but Adderstone catches him. In defense, he says he is here for volunteer work, which she accepts. That night, Molly continues to understand more about hypnotism. She learns that it is difficult to control someone who is angry, and will need to tap on their emotions. Meanwhile, Adderstone gets rid of Trinkleberry by convincing her to switch a bulb from a high place and pushes her off the stool, causing her to fall. The ambulance then arrives to take her away. Adderstone tells the kids it was an accident and wants them to go back to rest. The following day, Rocky reminds Molly of the contest, but Molly says she will meet him there. Meanwhile, Molly succeeds in hypnotizing Adderstone and tells her not to give Rocky to the visitors. She also finds out that her parents left her by the door of the orphanage home, and she is indeed a reject. She runs to attend the contest, but she's late. Rocky couldn't perform because Molly wasn't there. He returns to the orphanage and he convinces the couple to adopt him despite Adderstone's refusal. On his way leaving with his new parents, Molly meets him and tries to beg him, but he refuses, telling her she broke her promise. Molly decides to find him. She takes his files to find his parents' home in London, but Knockman attacks her. She struggles to get away from Knockman and she packs her bags. As she is about to leave the orphanage home, Petula follows her. She hypnotizes the bus driver to drive her to London, and she lodges at a hotel where she hypnotizes all the staff to treat her well. She lodges in this suite and watches her favorite TV personality. She finds Rocky's address and she visits him, but he tells her he is comfortable with his new family and she shouldn't find him. Upset, she returns to the hotel, watches the show of a celebrity, Davina, and listens to her talking about holding an audition to recruit singers alongside her. Molly gets excited and decides to go for the audition. During the show, Davina is angry at the crew, and she refuses to perform. So Barry Ricks, the producer, asks her crew to find another star to continue the show. Molly visits Barry Ricks and she convinces him to let her perform instead of Davina. She succeeds in hypnotizing him, and he allows her to be the star performer. When Davina changes her shoe, she hears Molly singing on her behalf, and Barry comes to sack her from the show. She's furious because the song belongs to her, but there's not much she can do. Molly becomes a star overnight. She hypnotizes all the crew to enjoy her song. She eventually notices that she isn't a good singer, nor is she a good dancer. She figures she needs to find a way to hypnotize everyone who listens to her when she is singing. Meanwhile, Knockman intends to use the book to rob a jewelry bank. He keeps looking for Molly and informs his mother about it. Davina listens to Molly during her training and she realizes that Molly doesn't have the voice or the skill. She wonders why Barry likes Molly and assumes Molly has paid him off. She confronts Molly, who tries to hypnotize her but fails. While preparing for the grand concert, Molly trains herself to hypnotize a crowd. Knockman's mom also sees Molly on the television and calls her son to inform him of the studio Molly is in. She also tells him another set of robbers are set to rob the bank the following day. Rocky discovers his parents are traveling and intends to put him in a boarding school. She confronts them in front of their guests and walks away. He runs out of the house that evening. On the night of the concert, Molly hypnotizes everyone, including those watching on the television. They all enjoy her show except the ones who weren't looking while she was hypnotizing. Davina breaks into Molly's dressing room and she finds the book, and Knockman also comes. She calls the security to chase Knockman away, while Molly also realizes that lifestyle isn't for her. She returns to her dressing room where she meets Davina, and she tells Davina she will give her back her life. Molly eventually resigns from being a star and she meets Rocky again. They reconcile and she tells Rocky all she had done to get to that stage. As they are walking away, she receives a letter from Knockman that he has kidnapped Petula and she should come alone. Rocky convinces her and goes with her. And Knockman tells her he wants her to steal from the people stealing from the bank. She does as he wishes so he can release her, but as they are driving the truck, another team attacks them. He finds out his mother has betrayed him, and she tells Molly to use her eyes to open the safe lock. Molly eventually succeeds in opening the lock and she takes the jewelry and locks Molly and Knockman away. Rocky tells Molly that she could use the mirror's reflection to lock the safe back when the thieves are there. She tries it and it works. Rocky releases Molly and Knockman and they return the jewelry to the bank. They buy gifts for the kids at the orphanage and depart from Knockman. They arrive at the orphanage and the kids hug them back. Trinkleberry also returns and they welcome her. She tells them Adderson is leaving. Molly visits Adderson, who gives her a letter left by her mother. She tells Molly her mother loved her and she wasn't to reject. Molly goes to the library to return the book. She realizes the librarian intentionally dropped the book for her to find. Before Molly leaves, the librarian reassures her that she is special in her own way. Molly returns to the orphanage home to celebrate Christmas Eve, and she lives her life happily now without using hypnotism to deceive others. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a like to help the channel out. Also leave a comment if you'd like us to recap your favorite movie. Thanks for watching.